Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to my vlog. My name is Gail, and of course, I'm the host of Random Life Productions. I haven't done one of these sort of videos for some time, so I thought to myself, why don't I just do one? Henri Cartier-Bresson said, "It is an illusion that photographs are made with a camera. They are made with an eye, heart, and head." He also said that you'd have to take 10,000 photographs in order to get a good one. And I think to myself, over the past year, I've probably taken thousands of photographs, and it's still a work in progress. It's still something that every day I go out, I want to pursue. Today, I want to explore 7 of my favourite photographs with you. The first photograph I want to explore with you is The Girl by St. Paul's. Yesterday I went for a walk in central London. I'd caught the train. I walked into the city. I went past St. Paul's and I went over the Millennium Bridge. I ended up in the Tate Gallery, and on the bridge everybody seems to take photos of St. Paul's. So I went down to the riverbank. I spotted this sort of underground place, sort of like a little archway, and I thought, I'm going to stand here and take a picture of St. Paul's. I may get it in a different way to everybody else. And luckily for me, this little girl stepped in with her bucket, and I thought, wow, this is a really interesting picture. This covers that largeness of St. Paul's, that big spectacle, and here's this little child innocently playing on a bank. And I thoroughly enjoyed taking that picture. That picture was taken with my Leica SL2s camera, and I had a 50mm lens, and I had to stop it down to about 250, and I really enjoyed that picture. I hope you do too. The second photograph that I want to talk about is this one. I called it Man in a Window. I was walking along the Covent Garden area of London, and I'm absolutely fascinated by shadows and reflections and all of those sort of things. And I happened to look into a window, and I saw this sort of reflection of sort of like almost like fencing. And I thought, that's interesting. And then a subject walked into the picture, and I thought, this is framing this subject. This is really wonderful. So why don't I just stand here and wait for the opportune moment for somebody to walk past? And luckily for me, somebody walked past just at that right moment, and I was like, goodness, snap that button now. So I did. This picture was taken on the Fuji Xt3 camera, and the lens of choice was the Contex card size 50mm 1.7. This lens is about 100 to 150 pounds, but I would say if you're looking at a really good quality manual focus lens at 1.7, this has got to be one of those lenses that I would thoroughly recommend for the Fuji Xt3 body, or any other body for that matter. Let's move on to my next photograph. My next photograph is called Street Entertainer. Now, Covent Garden is an area in central London which has a wide history of street entertainers. Every Saturday and every day of the week, there's always somebody standing in that central square entertaining. This given Saturday, it was a sunny day. I walked along, I had my Leica, I took this picture on the SL2s again with the 50mm lens. This was at f2, shutter speed of around 500, and I just watched for a while, and this gentleman did his act, and I thought this would be an interesting photograph, so I snapped. What I wish I had done is snapped it when he was jumping off, or even doing the knives, throwing the knives. But I caught this one, and I thought to myself, I'm happy with that photograph. I'm going to put that in one of my favourites. The next photograph I want to tell you about is the Ritz Walk. This one was taken, of course, outside the famous Ritz Hotel in London. I had this sort of picture in my mind when I was framing this shot of the Beatles zebra crossing for some reason. Now, this photograph is never going to be as good as the Beatles zebra crossing. I wanted to take this photograph in black and white because it was reminiscent of a time and make it very classical looking. I used a wide angle lens for this. I used a Leica Cl, and I used a 23mm Summicron lens. And this was just sheer luck that I was managed to get this frame. And like I said, I really enjoyed taking this picture. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is called The Joy of Youth. Last summer, my great niece and my niece came up to London. I don't see them very often, so to have them here for a week was really an absolute gift for me. My great niece is 12 years old and still has that youthful curiosity and that youthful zest for life. And she saw this water, these fountains, and she was running like all children do, running through them, putting her hands in the water. And I thought, this is a wonderful photograph. I just want to stop this moment. I want to stop this time. And I just sat there and I stood away. I had a 23mm lens, again, a wide angle lens, because I wanted to capture that moment. A good street photography lens is around this 23 on a crop sensor, because that gives you a sort of overall focal distance of about 40mm. So between 22 and 40mm is a really good street photography image camera, I think. So I hope you enjoyed that image. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is called London Bus. Again, this was me walking around London having a look. And in the city of London and also near Covent Garden, there are all these tunnels and corridors that lead into something. And for me, I've always had this picture of Alice in the Looking Glass, going into a cupboard, opening a door and seeing through that door and seeing what you could see. So I happened to point my camera and I saw a bus going past, and I noticed the reflection of the bus on the two sides of this tunnel. And I thought, wow, maybe I should just take a shot of the bus going. I again used a wide angle lens on this, I think. I had to set the shutter speed a little faster, so I had the shutter speed around about 250 to capture this image. And then I caught the reflection of the front and rear middle of the bus that reflected onto the tunnel. And I was able to use the coloration and use the detailing of the bus just to give it that extra pizzazz, I guess, of that photograph. But this one was something about wandering around London and taking that photograph specifically. Now, the next photograph I took was the sort of by St. Paul's. So I'm going to call this St. Paul's, the Ball by St. Paul's, which is a kind of weird name, but that's what I'm going to call this. Basically, I was at the front of St. Paul's Cathedral a few days ago, and when you're going over the Millennium Bridge, which is just opposite the Tate Gallery, there are these small glass balls, and they obviously reflect. The difficulty is that you can get a really good image from those glass balls, but unfortunately, it comes about a little distorted. However, what I did notice on that day was an awful lot of people walking past these balls, and there was reflections. So what I did, I took the photograph and I had a look at it, and I thought, I like this, I like the coloration. Let me edit it a little bit. So I edited it. I used Affinity Photo, which is an iPad program, and I used a program called JLUTs, which is an £8 program. And what I did is I played about with it some, and then I added a zoom blur. And what that did is it kind of morphed the view on the ball and accentuated that shadow a little bit. And I really enjoyed the overall image that gave me. This was shot on a 50mm Leica camera at about, I think, another 500 camera speed and maybe about 4 f-stop. And this again was something I really enjoyed to shoot. So those are some of my favourite photographs. I hope that you enjoyed them, and please leave a comment of your thoughts and your feelings. I still think I've got so much to learn in relation to photography. I'm no expert. I feel very much a beginner photographer. I feel very much that I'm still on this journey. I'll probably have to take another 100,000 photographs before I'm satisfied with the photography that I do. But for me, what I would encourage you to do is go out and take pictures. It doesn't matter if it's with your mobile phone or the cheapest camera possible. Think of lighting, think of composition, think of structure, think of where you can fill that blank canvas with something. Anyway, on that note, I do hope that you enjoyed this video today. Please comment down below if you want any more of these. I'm going to do another street photography vlog in about a week's time. I'm going to talk about zoom lenses and also about prime lenses and what the differences are. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. I'll see you again soon, and thank you ever so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.